Hey everybody, it's Sherry
And Bria.
and we're Alleged Actually Podcast and we're back tonight. Just like we promised, guys, you know what Thursday is? Thursday is Married at First Sight, Denver night, and boy, do we have a good episode to talk about tonight. So you guys, on this episode, we're coming up on the couple's 1 month anniversary. And, oh gosh, lots to unpack here. We're just going to get right on into it, guys.
Yeah.
So we're going to kick it off with the couple, Claire and Cameron. To kind of set this up, on last episode, each couple got visited by Dr. Pia, who is one of the experts. And Dr. Pia sat in with each couple, listened to their concerns, where they were in their relationship, and gave them awesome advice. And with that advice came activities for them to try to deal with their issues. Now, Claire and Cameron, they're still struggling with even figuring out where they are, if they're on the same page. Let's be clear. Claire is not giving Cameron, warm, fluffy that she's really into this relationship. She hasn't really shown him that she's interested in him anything other than kind of the friend zone friendship type relationship.
Yes.
I think part of their problem, or they thought, and Dr. Pia thought, is that they're maybe frustrated because they're trying so hard to get it where it is, dealing with, well, we have to have it by here by this time. So her advice was to try take it slower, live in the moment, and go do a fun activity. So they decided to go ice skating, which was very cute. And for me, what I got from their ice skating fun activity, though we all know from last episode, Cameron in his mind has already started having his feelings of, if I'm not going to get from this woman what I'm looking for, because he's made it clear he's attracted to Claire. But I think that he's starting to come to the realization that she just is not feeling him in the same way.
Correct. And in that scene, they did something. It wasn't quite ice skating. It was like ice skiing, where it's like they had the little, they had little, what are they called? Little boards on there. Yes.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was cute. It was but you could tell from Cameron's face, he just looked completely checked out, just numb, not feeling it for real. Like, kind of the way that she's been looking a little, like, prior to this episode. You see her kind of like trying a little bit more. She did the cute thing where she went under his legs to try to, like, and he was just, he just looked over all of it.
I agree. I think it might have been just a little too late for him.
Yep.
Yeah.
A little too late. And she even said that it feels like a platonic relationship. You're not here for that. You're here for a marriage. So they both, I think, in that moment, I think they both knew that it can't be saved. So, but, they didn't, not yet, but yeah, you could see it all over their faces that they just knew that it wasn't right.
Yeah, I agree. I will say at this point, I think that they're both still struggling with the fact of officially coming to the conclusion of that. Yeah. And so they're still both a little confused. And we're going to put a pin there and come on back to Claire and Cameron. Yeah. And we're going to hop over to Becca and Austin. Y'all, the scene opens up with a very distraught, broken-hearted Becca sobbing.
I mean, boo-hoo crying, bad, like red face, puffy, like she was out of sorts. So
completely. Yeah. And it came back to one of Becca and Austin's biggest issues, which is religion. And particularly, you know, Becca has really been pushing Austin to open up and to have this discussion.
Mhm.
For whatever the reason, and now we kind of see why, he has really been kind of blowing her off, which has been frustrating to her because she knows that for this marriage to work, they have got to iron that portion of it out. I mean, let's be clear, guys. Religion is a big deal when two people come together.
Mhm.
So, you know, I kind of contemplated when I was looking at this, how deep we were going to get into this. But the issue is, to give you guys background, Becca is agnostic and Austin is a Christian. So they have the conversation about heaven and hell, particularly that he was concerned that if she did not, I won't even say he said particularly convert to Christianity, but the fact that she didn't have the same beliefs, he was taught, and this is how he brought it to her, he was taught that if you did not accept Jesus Christ into your life and consider yourself saved, that when you die, you will go to hell. And it was his concern that in the next part of our life, eternal life, that they may spend it not together. And that broke her heart.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So this scene really, so you know, they open the scene, her crying, and then Pastor Cal visits, or not visits them, but video chats with them and tries to like talk them through this.
Mm-hmm.
As a pastor, I just, if you know that a couple is unequally yoked, like that literally, it says in the Bible that it won't work. And as
So,
a pastor, I just don't understand why he's not. And like I know he wants to, you know, try to make them see why they're matched and all of that. Get it? I just don't. I don't know why you wouldn't be honest with
okay,
him.
that's where I'm struggling, Bria. And I'm glad you said it that way. Because when Pastor Cal came on the scene, I'm like, okay, here we go. Now he's going to find a loving way to explain this to her. Because one thing about Becca, I don't see that she's 100% dead set against his beliefs per se.
Right. I think that she
I
is traumatized by
I think that she's
people.
traumatized.
Yes.
Yes. I think that her personality and where she is in her life, particularly how she feels about Austin, that this is a teachable moment in time for communication and it was a teachable moment. Now, let me be clear, listeners, okay? Personally, I do have the same beliefs as Austin, but I don't, on a legend, actually, we, you know, it is not, we don't profess that, you know, we're not going to answer for everybody. That's personally what I believe. That's personally what Bria believes. But understanding that in this scene, just to look at it from a clear lens, I would have thought that Pastor Cal could have come in and found a way to talk them through it, which he did. But what he did as a pastor was downplay instead of what I felt like would have been better advice. And I'm going to skip because I think this is skippable, that when Austin has the same discussion with his sister, that would be what I would have expected Pastor Cal to say.
Absolutely. Absolutely. However, like you said, what he did was he pretty much gaslit both of them into believing that this is really not that big of a deal. And it's like,
it just left Austin way more confused. It left her maybe feeling somewhat better, but I'm sorry, Bria, Austin wasn't buying it, and I wasn't either.
No, he wasn't.
I don't
And
think that was helpful.
no, it wasn't. He made it, like you said, he downplayed it and made it kind of a minuscule, like, oh, this is this. When you have children, like if you want this lady to be the mother of your children, you're gonna, it's not saying that potentially mommy's going to hell, but we are going to heaven. How do you explain that to your child? You can't. And personally, growing up, my parents, they got divorced when I was 17, but mom religion, would go to church on Sundays, dad stayed behind most times. And it as a child, it makes you feel like, well, since dad's not doing this and we are, is he going to heaven? Like I remember, I think I asked you that one time when I was like 6 or 7. And you said, well, God knows daddy's heart, and thus, he's a good man, he loves God. And so it's a very shaky topic, and way bigger than what Pastor Cal tried to downplay it as. Way bigger.
Way bigger. It's gonna keep coming up, guys. It just is.
Yes. And really for everything too. I mean, like I said, when they have their first child, when they have, move into it's going to come out. You're going to baptize. Someone wants to bless your house. Someone wants to you're going to always run into it.
It's going to.
Yes. Religion is a big part of people's lives. You're frozen. Uh-oh. 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 You're hello? Oh no. Oh no. Oh. This was good. This was a good conversation too, dang it. Oh my goodness. Mom.
Are you back?
Yes, we're back.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Maybe we need to get off that topic. No, I'm gonna say this, and we're gonna come back to Beck and Austin.
Yeah.
What I'm gonna say is just this, and this is in general, period. I think that she is a beautiful person.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it could work, but I think that it's gonna take a lot more deep conversations, understanding, and the counsel of maybe a more, Pastor Cal is limited to what he can say because he's tied to the show. Let's just be clear. I thought it was a cop-out, though. I wasn't impressed. Again, when we get to the scene of Austin talking to his sister about the same thing, I would have expected him to respond. Right. It's a loving way to say that this girl is a beautiful person. Her heart is good. The possibility of her leaning into you and following your lead. Hell and damnation. It's broader than that. I think had it been that it was a topic they were on, but perhaps had it been explained to her in a more loving way, perhaps we would have gotten to a little to more of a sense of her feeling a little bit more secure in at least the thought that there was a possibility it could work. But they're still working on it. They are both still very committed to each other. And but you can tell that it's never far from Becca's thoughts that it's a major issue.
Oh, I feel like it's always kind of in the forefront of her mind. Like I think that she really, really likes him, maybe loves him at this point. And I don't, it goes back to me saying that she's just, aside from this, she seems just like agreeable, and she wants him to, it's like she's looking for him to kind of be like, not change, but just let her know that, I don't know. I don't know how to articulate this.
Yeah.
It seems, yeah, it seems like essentially she's looking for more, just more from him. And he's very surface, very like, I don't know. And it just like and you know, and it's frustrating as a viewer, honestly, because you're like, come on, man, what, come out with it. Like, what?
Give her something to hold on to. And he kept saying, well, if I had time, because she was like, well, just promise that we will have these discussions and then you're going to make it a priority. Because she was saying, and she has literally since the honeymoon, she's been trying to have this conversation with him.
Yeah.
And they're getting ready to celebrate their 1 month anniversary. And he's like, well, who's had time? Well, what else have you had time to do?
Right. I mean, because it seems like all you do is just kind of giggle and laugh at each other, and like it just, yes, cool, keep it fun and light, but this is a potential, like, you're potentially getting married, like this is your wife or your husband, like talk to them. This isn't just a like Claire and Cameron, a platonic friendship that could be great. This is a marriage.
Yeah,
you have to have those hard conversations. And then I remember, you know, her saying that, you know, we wanted to hold off on these tough conversations and just like each other first. And I feel like that was not a good move. Because like I said, it's going to keep coming up.
yeah.
And I feel like it should have been better, or would have been better to have it earlier.
Also, when they were talking to Pastor Cal, that Becca remarks that Austin accidentally told her that he loved her.
I think he was probably high or sleepy or something, and probably maybe mid-dream, whatever, and just didn't. I don't know. I don't think that he meant that for real. I don't. I'm so sorry, but I do not. I think he was maybe sleepy and didn't really know what he was saying. I don't. I really don't believe he meant that.
Yeah.
And then you will know, well, we're not there yet, but there was another part where he said, I really, really love liking you.
Yeah.
So why do we have to, you know what I'm saying? So if he meant that, I feel like he would have just said it right then and there, but he didn't mean it.
I'm gonna have to say I'm with you, Bria. All right, Becca, Austin, we're coming back to you too.
Yep.
So now, guys, we're gonna move on to the couple of the hour, Miss Emily and Mr. Brennan.
Yes. So the episode actually starts out with them making a pizza and talking about what Dr. Pia instructed them to do. Of course, Brennan's still like, I don't know, like, I feel like she was wrong. And then Emily was like, well, I feel like we should kind of, that's how we'll grow, is if you listen to what she's trying to tell us to grow. And so she mentions with as little close as possible, just touching each other. Brennan says, nay, no. Here is a cute little side hug, fully clothed. Take it or leave it. She was like, okay. Because, you know, she's another one that's kind of not as agreeable as Becca, but she can tell she really likes him. She finds him really attractive and she wants it to work. And it's, we'll get to another thing that I found on Reddit at the end, but you know, it's just He just wasn't ready to be on this show at all. At
I
all.
agree. I agree. It's really frustrating to watch. I mean,
Mhm.
Emily is looking for something. I mean, this girl has been uber patient.
Mhm.
You know, the man has very little vocabulary. He
Mhm.
goes back to his, it's just so hard. But I'm here, taking it day by day. But it's hard. You know,
Right.
yeah, and it just the frustrating part is he was directly asked by Dr. Pia, what is it? And he
Right.
vehemently will not answer. I mean, and get downright indignant when he's asked. You cannot put
Exactly.
the man down and find out what is the problem. Like
Right. Because he
it
will not, he's not giving anything.
nada.
No. Like what he's giving is this is me, no emotion. This is what you
He
get. That's it.
he legit thinks that he's doing his part solely, y'all, by
Just
moving to that apartment. Really?
right.
Cohabitation is all he's willing to give her at this point.
Exactly. I mean, I'd rather you leave me alone than be here and like look disgusted. Yeah,
Right, right. But
I would rather you leave me alone.
pretty much, I mean, let's digress there. Basically, you know, they're getting ready to now go into the 1 month anniversaries. But just before we get into that, we're going to go back to Claire and Cameron, who is still struggling. So they also decide to get advice from none other than
The the very divorced uh
yes,
divorce fairies and just sprinkle all their divorced wisdom on
wisdom
them.
of how they left all of 2 seconds on Married at First Sight, because that's who I'd want to talk to if I wanted advice. Right.
Right.
So Claire decides to chat with Miss Lauren, and Cameron decides to chat with Mr. Orion. So basically, what I found interesting. Let's start with Cameron and Orion. Okay. When they did the potluck dinner last on the episode of last week, Cameron's antenna started going up when Orion was, telling the group how he came to the consensus that it was time for him to move on. He basically said, we all know the infamous Redskin comment, and she didn't make the comment. He was explaining about things that they had found racially wrong, disparaging to the Native American community, things they've had to endure. She had shared with him also as an African American woman what we have also faced as far as racial slurs. He was explaining to her how the Redskin comment hurt them, what it meant, and why it was a negative connotation. She never spoke of that other than to make a comment about him actually having at the time his skin was red. It was a joke, off-color joke perhaps, yet nonetheless she profusely apologized. However, we get to the point where he simply just can't get past it. I'm not going to say that he should have, but I am going to say that we all know that that was his way out because he simply didn't want to be with her. Okay. However, where he resonated with Cameron was, however he got there, once he got there and realized that he had come to the conclusion that the marriage was not going to work because he had lost any feelings for her. But instead of prolonging and dragging out the process, he decided to go ahead and ask for a divorce. And that's where Cameron is starting to contemplate, should he do the same for himself? What did you think, Bria, about Orion's advice when he said, I think one of the things I regret, which I found laughable, but He said one of the things that this is Orion that he regrets that he wasn't his own advocate earlier. That's seemingly all he was. Own
Yes.
advocate.
And so, of course, I did also find that laughable as well. You advocated for you, your younger self, your community, like you advocated for you, full stop, babes. You did. If anybody doesn't know that you are a proud Native man who was offended by an off-color joke, then they're under a rock. Also laughable that you're telling this to someone who also made an insensitive racial joke to you in front of everybody.
Mm.
And so, yes, I did. I found it extremely questionable, laughable, all of that, and further proving that he's just wanting to be up here to be this Zen, like, kind of guru type thing. Like,
yeah,
go, leave. I don't want to see you anymore.
agree.
Go.
Mm-mm.
You are nothing to look at, nothing special. You're not wise. You're not a divine. Get the bleep off my screen. Okay?
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah. Yeah. Bye-bye, Ryan. We're done with it.
Yes, and that's what I had to say about that.
Well, thank you for that. And then we was going over to Claire and Lauren. So Claire is, pouring her heart out to Lauren about how she has been so conflicted on why she just can't seem to get where she thinks that they should be at this point in the relationship, that she does very much enjoy him as a friend, but just is not feeling the way she's unsure of if she can get to the place where she would be matching his energy as far as how she feels about him. She never ever comes right out and says that, she's not attracted. There was even one point that, it was stated that she'd even initiated trying to have a some physical contact with him. But I think from Cameron's perspective, it didn't seem genuine, kind of like, well, let's see. I don't think he wanted to go there because he was sensing that she really wasn't that into him. And that would just overly complicate things, particularly because he did have feelings. Okay. Oh,
Right.
we'll go back because that's something else that he stated. But let's go there.
Hmm?
So she's telling Lauren that, she's conflicted. And Lauren's advice, quite the opposite of what Orion had suggested to Cameron, was to continue to fight for it, to continue to see where it goes, to not give up.
Mm-hmm.
You could kind of see that's not even what Claire wanted to hear, particularly
No.
with what she had been through. But
Right.
nonetheless, that was Lauren's advice to her. Bria, how do you feel about that? Particularly, do you think it's because maybe Lauren felt Claire was searching for that type of advice, and maybe she was also giving Lauren those same unclear mixed feelings that she did to Cameron by not clearly stating what she was struggling with?
Absolutely. Because I feel like if Claire was honest with her and said, look, I'm not attracted to him. I haven't been this whole time. He's checked out. I've been checked out, but I wanted to continue the experience because I don't know. I think it's cool, but I don't know. I don't know her reasons. But yes, if she were honest, I think Lauren would have told her, all right, you don't want to, like, what I went through, right? You don't want to make him go through that same thing. Like, don't drag it. Just say, look, no.
That part, Bria, that's what I was looking for her to give her. I mean, and yet I think she's still holding on of the thoughts that I wish he'd have given me more time to show him, when she's just not getting the fact that she needs to move on. That really wasn't her. He just wasn't it.
Right.
She could have done something different.
Yes.
Nothing.
Yes.
All right. Well, with that, guys, the couples are now getting ready to celebrate. It's coming down to the 1-month anniversary. And so they are all going to go on, I guess, kind of like a retreat of sorts, where all the couples go to celebrate their 1-month anniversary.
Mhm.
Becca and Austin are excited to go. Emily and Brennan pack up the car and are going. And actually seemingly are looking forward to the experience.
Mhm.
However, in light of the new Cameron's new coming to a realization, Claire and Cameron made the decision that they are not going to celebrate their 1-month anniversary.
Mhm.
Instead, they're going to take some days apart, some space, some time to self-reflect, and come back to join the other couples on the last night of the 1-month retreat. So with that, you see Cameron speaking with a friend of his. They got to do they also did some sort of snow activity, like skiing type thing too. I know that's a big thing, clearly in Denver.
I feel like they were like biking too, maybe. I don't know.
Some outdoorsy.
Like I saw something, a bike in the background. I don't know. It was a very quick glimpse of what they did. So
Right. But the true takeaway was simply that he was talking to his friend and he had basically realized that he was pretty much made the decision for himself that he was going to ask her for a divorce. And then we flip over to Claire doing what she loves best, typing away and working.
yes.
But she was cute doing it though. She was cute doing it.
She looked adorable. She did.
She did. Those lips were popping.
They were.
So
you think that's filler? That's got to be filler. Like that top lip. That's okay.
Totally filler, but it's good filler.
It looks good. It does. It looks good.
That's enough, Claire. You got that. You did that, ma'am. Yes.
Not too much though. That's perfect where you are.
Yeah, no more. Just stay there. We don't want to duck clip it. You look good, girl.
You look, yes.
Anywho, so Miss Claire is also reflecting and taking some time. But at this point, we do not know exactly where she is just yet. Okay. So let's put a pause on the couples, guys, and let's talk about something that happened on this episode that has never happened on any season of Married at First Sight ever. And we're on season 15, if that tells you something, okay? If you guys recall in the very first episode of, the episode of the wedding days, this man, Michael, he's 38, seemingly like a really nice man, has a runaway bride, never gets to go past wedding day, never gets to the altar, the girl's just like, I can't do it, not for me, I'm so sorry. And he's pretty much humiliated right there at the altar, okay? The experts get together now, and I'm going to ask you something on this too, Bria, but the experts come together and they say, I really feel like Michael handled this with such dignity and such grace that I think we should bring him back and see, I think we could find him a match and bring him back and, let's see if we can do it right this time for him. We feel bad, that he went through that because he took it like a champ. So let's begin if he's willing. Okay. So they proceed to follow up with Michael to see where he is. He admits that though he was very polite and very gracious, as they stated, about the experience and even understanding the young lady's perspective and respecting her, he never said anything ugly or cross about them, the experiment, or the woman they had him matched with. He was a tremendous class act. But he does admit that, off camera, he wept. He did admit that he felt like a complete failure. He admitted that, it made him question himself. Their comeback was, oh, nope, she only saw a glimpse of you. Nope, couldn't have been that. She only saw a glimpse of you. She knew, you know, she was fine and everything. You know, it wasn't you. Say who now? All right, Bria. Help me here. Because it's two things that I see.
Okay.
I see manipulation at its finest, gaslighting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I see because you have a crumbling season, crumbling right before our eyes.
Mm-hmm.
You have to pull in, get another poor soul, or humiliate.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on that, Bria?
I think one of two theories or scenarios. The first one is what you said. I think that they're down to two couples that are matched. And I mean, really you can say 1.5 because Emily's there and Brennan's yeah. And so yes, they want to bring him back when the show has maybe like 3 more episodes left until it wraps. Which is why my second theory is that he's a paid actor or a plant or a producer plant, one of those, a plant something. Because you know that the first few episodes are the weddings and they have the lowest amount of viewers when it first comes on because the weddings are boring and nothing's really happening. And so I think that they wanted that to add a little bit of excitement in the first few episodes that people generally skip. I know I used to. And so, yeah, I think bringing him back for maybe 3, 4 I don't even know if it's even that many. Decision day seems very close. And so I'm just trying to figure out what I mean, unless they're going to film him when they do, because I think next is Chicago. And unless they're going to like cut to him in Denver while they're doing the Chicago people, I guess. But that don't make sense to me. That's why I'm more inclined to believe that it's the producer plant or something, and that this ain't.
But have
They
you
do that often too. Reality, they do that often.
Right. Have you forgotten about our friends at Tennessee that kept us in Tennessee for 5 years? So let's don't get too hasty because they can drag it out now. They can drag a show. They can drag a show. You know,
they can. However, with 1.5 couples,
true that. True
what's the show gonna be? And I know that I saw this sad attempt that they were trying to work an angle where Orion is like coming to this realization that he made a mistake. Woo! And we know that's fake. Ain't no way. They are scrambling right now because they need content.
I think you're right, because if that happens, I think my 65-inch might get snatched off the wall.
And I think my 52 might, it's not on the wall, but it's on a stand, and it might go on the ground. It might. I'm
not feeling that one.
I'm not either. What are y'all doing? Seriously, producers, I need to ask what y'all are doing. Because y'all aren't matching people to stay married forever. Y'all are like literally getting people with, like I said in that last episode that we did, different foundational beliefs. You got men like that live in basements and with their moms. Men that have like a blank affect and literally look like they smoke all day long and don't do anything else. Austin. Brennan, who is on dating sites as we speak now, not even trying to hide the fact that they're not together anymore. I need y'all to like really like, what are y'all doing? We're like, because right now you're playing with my intelligence and I don't appreciate that. Yeah. What are you doing?
I concur, Bria. I want us to further discuss that, and then I'm going to put something in our community tab, because I'm going to poll you guys out there, and I'm going to get your thoughts, because this is something that has been weighing on me, on Bria,
Mhm.
Trying to finish out the episode, but we had a little discussion, and we're going to close up with our discussion. But let's wrap it up with the couples coming together. They all come together for a dinner on the last night of the 1-month anniversaries. So at this dinner is, of course, Becca and Austin, Emily and Brennan, Claire and Cameron get all dolled up and arrive as well. And they decide to come together and kind of see and check in with each other, as they often do, to see where they're all at. Becca kind of starts it off with a question for the couples. And she basically asked them, the question was something to the effect of, if you could go back, like in this experience, and yes, tell yourself something. Okay. Wait, before we do this, let me just say this one more thing. And then I'm sorry, guys. This part is important to me because it sets up the dinner. So let me backtrack before we get there. Emily and Brennan, when they do their dinner by themselves. Ciao. Okay.
Deep breath.
Woo! And this is also with the 1-month. Listen, y'all. Okay. They do a dinner because they're celebrating their 1-month anniversary. Just a quick aside, Becca and Austin do this cute little ice skating activity. They roast marshmallows. They have a good old time, but you can still see in Becca's face the horror of the fact that they're still not getting any further with the discussion on religion. Okay, we're there. Claire and Cameron didn't even go, child. And Emily and Austin went horseback riding and had a good time. And then, decided to do after that, they have a dinner together. Okay. I think Emily's initially starting to feel like she's starting to break through some ice here.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's ready for this dinner to kind of check in and make a little headway with her man, because, Emily has given it the old college try, and she feels like surely at this point we have gotten somewhere further. Okay. So she kind of checks in with him to see where he's at, and he says, well, you have made that apartment comfortable for me to stay in. Okay. She smiles. Buddy says, don't get me wrong, though. Normally, under these type of circumstances, I would have run. These circumstances that where I've run into red flags. Miss Emily, with her cute little smile and her head cocked to the side, ask him, say who? Am I a red flag? Not I. And he remarks just as,
yeah,
there you are. You sure are.
Then proceeds to tell her how he is a red flag, pretty much, because nothing in his explanation proved that she was a red flag at all. In fact, it proved the exact opposite, that he was. And so I don't know if he just doesn't know what that means or if they edited some part out, but that was foolish. So, and Emily, I thought you were, an airhead, but you're smarter than this. You are smarter than this. And I really wish you would have corrected, just left when he said that he was trying to protect you, or wrong. He didn't. Pia said that he was trying to protect you. Mm-hmm. But you're smart. You know what's going on. You know what's going on here. That man does not want you. And there's nothing against you. I think that the man just got issues. He's got hang-ups somewhere. He doesn't like to take. I think that he is a fuckboy. That's what I think. I think that he doesn't do commitment, and I'm not sure why he signed up for this show, and I don't think he knows why he signed up for this show. But he needs to go. He also needs to get off my screen as well.
I concur. I'm going to give Emily a lot of credit, though, because
absolutely,
out of the group, she was the one that has never had a serious relationship. To me, it would have been my thoughts that it would be her.
Absolutely. That's what we all thought.
Right. but she is hanging in there. She is showing tremendous restraint and maturity,
Mm.
and a plethora of patience that I simply would not have.
I
Kudos
hope
to you, Emily, because it could not and would not be
ever.
No,
No, ma'am.
All right. Shall we go to the dinner with the couples now, Bria?
Absolutely. Let's sashay in there.
All righty. Well, we're all round table right about now. All the couples are together and they are, coming into the nice little restaurant or in their drinks. Everybody looks happy. They come together. And that's when Becca asked the question, if you could go back and tell yourself something about this experiment, what would you tell yourself that would prepare yourself for this? She starts with Emily. Emily says, I've always been the type to say, just kind of ride the wave. She was like, but now with what I've encountered, I would say also prepare for the ripples. Thanks, Brett. Very. And so naturally, since we're going to go in order, right? Who should go next? But her husband, Mr. Brennan.
Sweet Brennan.
When she says, over to you, Brennan. No, I'm not going to answer that. And he gives it over to, I think, Austin. Oh. And Austin proceeds to go on to say a lot of nothing as well. And that ain't even the most important part of the dinner, but it just showed me again. You look at Emily and you see her face saying, okay, surely this is the time. He's not going to disappoint me this time. He's going to come up with an answer. He's going to say something. And yet again, nope.
Disappointment. Just straight disappointment.
Okay. Everybody does go around the room and say something. They come back to him, and this time he really has no choice but to say something. And what does he yet say again? That it is hard, but he has been taking it day by day. Now, at this point,
I don't understand how at least 2 drinks weren't just tossed in his face. I'm not understanding. These ladies are very classy. They are very classy ladies, because I wish I would get embarrassed like that and not do anything, or just storm out and cry in a van. No.
She held her own for quite a while. Like I said, I have tremendous respect for Emily. I do, because Emily is young, and the fact that she is trying to give it this much effort when normally, she's casually dated. She's not had anything too heavy, too serious, and that she's giving it this amount of effort and listen to the experts and giving it all she's got and really trying with him. He's literally giving her nothing. And then, but I think the pivotal point in this is that now he's done it so that the whole group can see it.
Right.
And I think this is possibly what she needs, because there is some more chatter at the table, but let's get with the major takeaway. She gets up to go to the bathroom because she's pretty much had it. Him being silly as he is, does she want him to go with her? And she quickly says no.
Right.
Okay. Claire,
why? Why would I want you to come with me? Like, while you just embarrass me.
Horribly. But before we even get to that scene, we are skipping the part that Becca asked, or Emily asked Claire and Cameron. Oh, well, this is the shade. Yeah, I gotta pinpoint the shade aspect of how the dynamics went with the 2 questions that just wrecked the whole table. Okay, so Emily asked Claire and Cameron where they were, whatever, and Cameron's like, well, you know what, we really haven't been on the same page. And basically, we've been struggling, but we've taken some time apart. And I think that, we are getting some clarity here. And so basically they keep chiding away. Well, and so Cameron says, all right, what we're gonna do then, Claire, on the count of 3, we're going to come out with whether we choose to stay together or we choose to divorce. The couples were like, no, that seems a little, we don't need, that's a little harsh. And so they proceed to do it anyway. 1, 2, 3. One says separated, one says divorced or whatever, but bottom line, they both agree that they are no longer going to go further with the marriage.
Mhm.
So another one bites the dust.
Yep.
All right. Now, they go on to say those wonderful things about each other, though. I mean, it seems like the cleanest, nicest, most, at this point, it seems like a very, not a bad breakup, that a very respectful, they have a lot of respect for each other. They have a lot of, they care deeply for each other, but they simply seem to be very mature and state that it's just not working. They're both at the point where they're willing to just dissolve their marriage and go on with their lives because they do actually respect each other too much to keep stringing either of the two along. Understanding.
Yes.
At that point, then Miss Claire shoots on back to Miss Emily. And that's when we get it day by day, but it's been hard. Yeah.
That's right.
There was a little shake there. There was. That was actually, I think, brought up on some of the vlogs. I thought, yeah, maybe. But at this point, Emily gets up to go to the bathroom. She's clearly embarrassed. Claire follows behind her. Emily finally is at her breaking point. And so I don't know if if Brennan is just that clueless. I don't think so. But it just floors me because we're going to end this season or end this scene up with they end up, the couple's disband and leave. They end up in their vehicle. She's crying. He's trying to console her as if he just can't understand why she's so distraught. Oh, I'm here for you. No, you're actually her problem.
Right.
And she finally admits, I was embarrassed. And she's getting no answers. And I'm getting the sense, or at least I'm hoping I'm getting the sense, that within the next episode or so, Emily is going to send Brennan packing. We're just going to have to keep tuning in to see. What we do know is Michael has agreed to allow the experts to rematch him. So within, I think they said a couple weeks, he will be doing his Married at First Sight wedding again. His friends, he met with his friends to see how they felt about it. They were on the fence because they actually care about him. Dr. Pepper drops in, tells him, we've actually found your match, and he does consent to do it. So we'll see how that goes too, guys. I don't know. Now, how we're going to close this recap session off with a little discussion about our concerns about the show and our thoughts. And then I'm going to put something in our community tab. And I'd like for you guys to comment or head over to the community tab and answer our question. But we've been watching this show for years. And over the past, I would say 6 or 7, we have seen some very concerning episodes where it has left the cast, some of the castmates, horribly damaged. A lot of them had to seek therapy. Emotional self-esteem has been affected horribly. Because you have to realize, not only are they feeling it while they're filming, there is when it is airing, you have to relive it. There is, of course, the internet, social media backlash on those that have been the receivers, those that have been the givers of, not wanting it to work or the dynamics. It's a train wreck. And Married at First Sight experts and the platform and the whole premise of the show, either something has to change or they're going to have to take, matching these people a little more seriously, because you're really playing with people's mental health. And I made the comment, and this is prayerfully not to foreshadow anything, but they're going to mess around and get a lawsuit because they're going to have their first Married at First Sight suicide attempt, or God forbid, successful attempt. And you don't play with people
You don't.
It's just too much. It's too much. Rejection with yourself is hard, but to have yourself put out there in front of not just national television, international television, for the world to see and the world to chime in on social media.
Yes.
And these people are real people that have families and jobs and friends. And it is becoming harder and harder to watch.
Right. Right. And with the awareness now that we have around mental health and around like knowing, like, because you don't know. I mean, people present the best versions of themselves and you don't know what they've struggled with in the past.
Yeah.
You don't know if they've had low self-esteem. You don't know if they've struggled with suicidal ideation.
No.
It is wrong to match somebody who is willing, like, to just go again. I mean, that wants to be married, like, full, like, just want, like, and then match them with somebody who could, it's cool. Being on TV is fun, so I'll do that.
Right.
Y'all are hurting people.
Deeply.
That is not, you'll see some of these, and some men, like, but these women just come on full of hope and just so excited and happy. And then by the end, they look so drained.
Shell of themselves.
Yes. It is very, very sad to watch. And like you said, it's not even just being rejected from your potential spouse. You're on international television for people to nitpick and say things and just be so awful, because I've seen some of the comments that they put under these reality stars. Brutal. And like you said, they better be careful. They better be careful, because that is nothing to play with.
It is not. And so, guys, we're going to put something in the community tab, like I said, and I'd like for you guys to comment and give us your thoughts. Married at First Sight, though it is entertaining, and we're here for the entertainment piece, to give our opinions, to kiki a little bit, to recap and let you know if you missed it, what you missed, so you might want to go back and tune in, or just to open the discussions on how things are going and what we think about the shows. But in all seriousness, guys, we are both really huge mental health advocates, and it is a concern watching this. And every time we talk about it, we do always touch on that piece of it. So we're going to put something in the comment or in the community tab. I'd like you guys to weigh in and tell us what you think. We'll be back on Saturday to do our pop culture segment. Lots of stuff to talk about on Saturday, guys. These internet streets are a buzzing with all kinds of good stuff. And we're going to bring you that to you on Saturday. But thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. Like I said, it was a good episode with a lot of heavy content, a lot of things to think about. Yeah, so we're going to keep tuning in. We're going to see how it all turns out, guys. And like I said, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for coming back in the new year. We got a lot of stuff for you guys. We appreciate every one of you that have subscribed, that have liked our videos, that have commented and shared. Please continue to do so. We're going to keep coming back, so you keep coming back. Again, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm Sherry.
And I'm Bria. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And also let us know what you would like us to talk about on Saturday. Like, what are you